Alright, let's see if we can do a little bit of stuff with the crunch sound. Okay, so, excuse me, three sounds: clean, dirt, wet, right? So all I did is take the exact same that I used at the last one, where I had a little bit of reverb and a little tiny tape echo delay, and just hit my overdrive pedal. So, um, like we said before, um, more effects usually is going to mean less play and less effort. And as you add the distorted effect, especially, um, it's real important if you're going to do um, electric playing in a worship band. You have to have the right attitude about it. It's not a rock concert, and so even though some of the sounds are going to be kind of big, you really want to be a servant about it. You're really not trying to squash all over the song. If you have a moment in worship where every eyeball in the room goes to you, something's pretty much gone wrong, because the attention of a worship service is really supposed to be on the Lord. So you want to be serving the song. Less is more. So you want to be tasty about it. So, along the same lines like we did, just covering some basics with the clean, some of the same exact strumming ideas and things work completely fine with the crunch setting. Okay, if I want to arpeggiate it, obviously it's nice and big, right? One thing you can do when you're trying to control the size of it, you can roll back on your tone control just a little bit, and it takes out some of that real high part. Pickup selection plays a lot to it too. If you have different sets of pickups that you can use, that one's bigger. Usually, by the time you get all the way to your bridge pickup, that's going to be the brightest one. So, um, so your pieces that we talked about before um, really come into play a lot on your crunch setting. So if you have G and you have G, and then this is G, and this is G, and this is G, and this is G. And remember what we talked about, the root 5, right? So G, D, E, F, wait, sorry. G, A, B, C, and D, right? G and D will give you a G5 chord anywhere you find those two notes. And obviously, all of those have a different flavor to them. And that's what you kind of want to experiment with to give the song some dynamic to it. You're typically going to be more pronounced on the chorus, less pronounced on the verse. And a lot of times that's where your shapes come in. There's a Vineyard song called Your Mercy that really just alternates a lot between G and C and throws in an E minor at one point. Um, and you end up laying back while they sing and coming out in between to fill up the voids. So you might do, if you just have the root 5, you can finger pick it and pinch it, I call it. So that's G. These two notes give you the C chord, C5. So and then there's a spot between the singing, so you go bigger. So you come into a chorus part, maybe you want to drive a little harder. Well, like we talked about before, you want to use smaller pieces so that you get the energy without stepping all over the song. So as it picks up and really gets running on the chorus, I might do something more. So you want to use the different techniques to give the song some dynamic. You definitely don't want to just be raking away. No. So you're going to work with the different little pieces that we talked about in the clean, but the distortion gives you some cool sustain and some other things that you can do that change up the effect of the song. And one of the things that you can do with the distortion a lot is you can go up higher, like I showed you, where this is a G shape here as well. This gives you C, and this gives you D, okay? And you hear some of this stuff happening a lot in the background nowadays on the music. And they're getting a lot of that now by just doing the root 5 and finding it and moving it up high. That's a C. E minor. So if there was something going on and I wanted to use the same chord progression, the G, C with the E, but I wanted to get a totally different feel on it, I could go up here. So you can, now one thing that comes in a lot in the electric playing that you have to do a lot of times is the palm mute. Okay, so the palm mute, you take your pick hand and you're going to be laying it on the strings to muffle it down a little bit. And you hear that go on a lot in the music too, so that instead of, you have... And as you move into the other little pieces, that creates a fun effect as well. And when you take your hand away, you get the set that rings out, maybe to fill up in those in-betweens. So these different things that go on in the background, and we've been talking a lot about, how great is our God has kind of been, background idea on a lot of this stuff in the key of G, E minor, C and D going on there. Well, we talked about it with the clean. I'll play it real quick, some of the ideas with the distortion, give you an idea. The smaller parts on that song, sometimes I'll just do my root. I'll use that shape, I'll just pick the notes on the beat and then use the whammy bar for a little bit of effect in between. Right? The splendor of the king, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice. Right. You come into the chorus of it, it depends on how big of a feel you're going for. You might stay with those shapes and just make them a little bit more pronounced. How great is our God? Sing with me. How great is our God? I will sing how great is our God. You might want to go to the open shapes if they're really, you really want to go big. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? How great is our God? Okay. So some of that just depends on how much of a feel you're going for, and then of course your distorted sound, if you move up to your soloing, gives it all that sustain and that feel. So we'll get into more stuff later, but hopefully that stuff's helping you out a little bit. Take it easy.